So I wrote this down, actually. I wrote this statement down. I want to get it out of the way at the beginning of the video. So today we start our 5th year of doing this channel, Geekdom101. I'm truly grateful and surprised at the longevity of this channel, and we'll talk more about that momentarily. I am of the belief that hard work does pay off, and nothing can change my opinion on that. There has been an incredible amount of hard work, sacrifices, and a tad bit of luck as well in the past 5 years when it comes to building this channel. And it's also a good idea to be smart enough to surround yourself with intelligent and talented people as support. I've been blessed for these past 5 years. Very, very blessed. Throughout all of the ups and downs of the past 5 years, I have learned that deep down, we're really all alike. Some of us dress differently, grew up in different kinds of households, had a different education, had different friends, and some may have had better luck when it comes to genetics. But deep down, we're all the same. We all want to be happy, we cry when we're hurt, we're angry when we feel mistreated, and to be liked, accepted, and respected is the absolute best gift of all, especially if the love is genuine. There's never been a moment in the last 5 years of doing this channel that I haven't appreciated every single one of my viewers, even the naughty ones. And today I reflect back on that. Thank you, and now I'm going to get to the meat of this whole memory lane thing we're doing. March 2nd, 2015 is the day that I opened up this channel. So March of 2020 marks the 5-year anniversary of Geekdom101. So I want to do this little kind of reflective video on the 5 years, and also this is going to be a very honest video. I'm going to be, as they say in the wrestling business, shooting with you guys and giving you some of my thoughts about the roller coaster ride that is the past 5 years of my life on YouTube. So first of all, whether you like me or hate me, I do want to thank you for watching any of the videos here on Geekdom101. I really, really appreciate it. You know, it's more than you could ever imagine. I have not been very well health-wise for the past couple of years. I've been working through a chronic pain nerve condition. If you follow me on Twitter, you know what I'm talking about. And I kind of don't talk about it unless I need to talk about it, which I have talked more about it. I've been more open about it lately because I have to keep my stuff very private. And if it wasn't for all of you watching the content, I wouldn't be able to afford these medical bills because the medical bills are pretty expensive. So I really appreciate it in that aspect. You've helped me live, or at least try to live, a better life, because as of right now I'm still dealing with it. So it's not cured yet, but I probably would be not on this planet anymore. You know what I'm saying? So that means quite a bit to me, and that's from the heart. So I really appreciate the past 5 years of support. We've had our ups and downs, and it's been a roller coaster ride. But really, do I have regrets? Absolutely. I've said this before. You can't not have regrets. You can't go through life saying you have no regrets because you don't learn from them. And the thing about me as a person is I have been diagnosed as having self-hatred and self-loathing. And so because of that, you know, I feel like I have what's called imposter syndrome, which basically means that I've garnered a form of success that I feel is unworthy to me. You know what I mean? And I've worked really, really hard. I have worked really hard for the past 5 years, especially when Dragon Ball Super was on the air, because I would stay up until 3, 4, 5, 6 in the morning waiting for the translations to come through from Yanko Productions and Ken Zyro and the Herms, Therese, whoever was doing them at the time, you know, whatever, whomever it was, and they would post them and I would do the video and then knock out, and it really did affect my health. I didn't realize it at the time because I was kind of running on, you know, I was running hard, as Steve Austin would say. I was just getting up. I didn't care. And it really did affect me a lot. And I lost a lot of sleep in those 3 years. But it's okay because I worked really hard and I earned your respect, hopefully. And I also was able to get the news out there quickly, do my discussion on it, and then, you know, make sure the Dragon Ball fans would have something to wake up to in the morning. And you know, the word respect is kind of a big thing that I'm going to talk about here. Because, again, we're going to be shooting a lot of very personal... I'm going to talk about a lot of very personal things here. But, you know, I do have regrets about some of the things I've done, but like I said, if you don't have regrets, you can't learn from them, you know, and I'm very happy to say that as of right now, you know, I have an incredible sense of peace right now. And let me explain what I mean by that. So when I first started doing YouTube, okay, when I first opened up this channel, I wasn't going to be a Dragon Ball YouTuber. The entire reason I opened up this channel was because I was trying to find people on YouTube to recruit for my old website. Like to bring YouTubers on there and kind of post their content. Sort of like what Channel Awesome used to do, right? And kind of build a little network just for fun. YouTubers and podcasters. And soon I kind of found out that maybe me doing this on my own would be a better idea. At first I didn't want to do it on my own, but then I was like, you know what? Let's just try it. And the first video I ever uploaded here was a Resurrection F Resurrection F Trailer 3 breakdown. And it was not a breakdown, I'm sorry. It was a subtitled trailer. The best quality one on YouTube at the time. Best one. And that was it. I didn't even talk. And then when Resurrection F got announced as coming to America, I did my first video. And then from there, you know, just kept uploading. Really not even for money. You know, that's one of the things that I cannot stand that actually does bring my piss to a boil is when people talk about YouTube and money. And when they talk about how they generalize all of us as being these greedy clickbaiters and these, you know, terrible people who only do this for the money. That's the reason why I don't post on the Kanzenshu board anymore, because even though there's a lot of good people on there, most of them are good people. It was just the one or two assholes that just got under my skin and I left because I had no purpose in even posting there anymore. That board has a really bad reputation now because of these kind of people. And they would sit there and attack my friends, and they would say things about not even me. It wasn't even me. It was just, you know, other people. And if you weren't Anime AJ, Mystery Fusion, or Team 4-Star, you didn't get any level on that board. I mean, that's the way it was, and I'm not the only one who thinks that way. Not that that's anything against the people who run the site, but that's how it was during that time. But again, it's a message board. I mean, what do you expect? So I just left because I felt like I was wasting too much time on there trying to convince people who are never going to watch YouTubers, who think we're all bad people, to watch us. It was a waste of time. So when I first started this channel, I didn't make a profit on it for a year. I did not make a penny on this channel for the entire first calendar year that I ran this channel, which would be until January of 2016. Not a penny. And what wound up happening was I had banked up some money from ad revenue for a few months. This is when Super was very early on. Like, this is like Battle of Gods arc. You know what I'm saying? Resurrection F movie. And I decided after I got fired from my job unfairly that I was going to try to do this, you know, and try to see if I can do it full time. And then off to the races we went. And I didn't think I would ever be able to do it full time, but I have successfully been able to do it full time. And if anybody out there tells you, oh, YouTube's not really a job and it's unstable, it's true that it is unstable. There's no guarantees in this platform. But as far as it being a living, as far as me paying taxes and earning an income, it is a job. Like, you can't deny that. And I'm not the only one who does this full time. Most people who you watch on here who have a decent following do it full time. You don't have to have 1 million subscribers to make a profit on here and pay your bills. So I was able to do that. I was able to pay my bills, and I was able to use the money I earned to buy a home and pay off my home. And to me, that's probably the greatest achievement that YouTube's given me, is that and being able to pay off my medical bills. And for that, I thank you. You know, it really is an important thing. I don't spend my money on dumb things. I try to better myself and do things for, not just for me, but for my community and for people who I care about. I just don't gloat about it. You know what I mean? You never hear me on here talking about, oh, I gave this person X amount of dollars or this person X amount of dollars when they needed it. You never hear that. You never hear me say that. Same thing with Seth the Programmer. People think Seth the Programmer is this, you know, egotistical prick. And he does have an ego. He'll admit it himself. But this dude has given people money for rent. Like, people who aren't even his close friends, he's just giving them money. And to me, those are good qualities to have in a human being, even if they're egotistical. You know what I mean? There's human beings have good and bad to them. And so, basically, the first year I didn't make any money. And then year 2, everything was off to the races. I started doing interviews with voice actors and things like that. I started to really, and I did that for the community. I wanted to ask questions I wanted to do interviews, unlike IGN and Comic Book Review, who aren't even real Dragon Ball fans. You know, they're garbage. Not even going to hide it. They're garbage. I wanted to do interviews with actors from real Dragon Ball fans so I can ask them real questions, not this homogenized crap that y'all were getting. And so when I first started doing YouTube, that was one of my goals. Also, my goal when I first started doing YouTube in 2015 was to hit, when I actually wanted to do it consistently, was to get 10,000 subs in the first year, and I wound up ending the year with about 40,000. So I really grew fast for at least, compared to what I thought I was going to grow. So when I first started doing YouTube, the platform was very different. There was a few YouTubers that kind of did better, sort of deconstructions, like Hail Xeon, Mr. Fusion. A lot of the people on here were doing like video game stuff, like the video game crew, which I've been very blessed and thankful to make friends with. People like Rhyme Style and Thundershot. Quaman was doing a lot of good stuff, and Black and Fist as well, a lot of more intricate stuff. But there was a lot of gaming people here, and also you had Quaman. Yeah, a good little variety. But what I wanted to do was something a little bit different. Is I wanted to make like different kinds of topics that hadn't really been covered before with different kinds of editing. Now, at first I used Movie Maker. Everybody knows it's been a joke. I got to 100,000 subs with Movie Maker, PicMonkey, and a Rock Band mic. It's a joke, but it's true. And then I upgraded to using a program called Movavi. I also have a couple editors that help me out with some of the bigger edits. So as time has progressed, if you watch my old videos from back then to now, you will see an audio upgrade. You'll see my voice is different. I used to script a lot of my content. Now I do bullet points. In some ways, that's actually worse. In some ways, it's better. It just depends. So you kind of see the evolution of me as a creator, and there have been hard days at the office, There have been, if you know what I'm saying. It hasn't all been peaches and cream. I've had issues with people on this platform. Luckily, almost every single issue I've had with anybody has been resolved. We're going to get to that here in a minute. And, I have a lot of anxiety. So I deal with a lot of things, internally. One of the things I want to address real quick on this video, looking back on the 5 years, is this whole sort of narrative that people have come up with, so to speak. People who don't know me, they should not be listened to, but some people, and it's not a lot of them, have gone around saying that I'm egotistical. I'm not egotistical. You don't even know what that word egotistical means. If you actually say someone else is egotistical that you don't know, that in itself is an egotistical act because you're judging somebody who you've never spoken to. So whenever somebody says somebody else is egotistical and they don't even know the person, you're being an egomaniac just by saying that. They don't even realize they have no self-awareness, right? And that is irritating. Not because I get called that, but because they don't even realize that they're doing it. They don't even realize the hypocrisy in their statement. But one thing I will say about myself, and I'm honestly going to admit this, is I am very defensive about my content. I'm very prideful about my videos. Very prideful, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I work really, really hard to make videos that nobody's ever done before, to come up with new series every year. I've come up with at least 2 new series every year. The Transformation Guide, the Technique Guide, the Strongest in Dragon Ball, the Dragon Ball Heroes playlist. I got like more coming this year. Way more coming this year. A couple more, then more next year. I've got content ideas to last me for years and years and years, right? And I'm very proud of the fact that I don't have to resort to doing sort of surface level content. And I'm very proud of the fact that I'm not like Comic Book Review or these goofballs that pretend to be Dragon Ball fans. No, I love Dragon Ball so much, I have loved this thing since I was 10, right? That I'm very proud of the fact that I'm able to be different. And that was my goal, is to be different from everybody else. No disrespect to them, but I wanted to do different content. I didn't want to talk over gameplay. I didn't want to I wanted to use more Japanese terms and kind of transition the fandom over to learning more about the Japanese version without coming off like an elitist, which I have in the past, because at one time I was an elitist. I was totally at one time I was I am still a purist, but at one time I was totally a sub-elitist. But now I've kind of learned that even that isn't the right way. So my goal was to take sort of like casual dub fans and kind of convert them into being hardcore fans by saying, hey, did you know this? Did you know that? Did you know that Toriyama likes this movie? Oh, really? I like that movie. You know, things like that I think people can relate to, and I try to make them more knowledgeable Dragon Ball fans to learn more, you know, and to you know, because I've done so much research on this. You know, there are days, where I would literally skim the internet with Herms. We would skim the internet for translations, or he would do the translations on things that have never been translated before. Like that Truth of Dragon Ball GT video I did, you know, that video, we had information nobody else had. The whole GT is non-canon, Toriyama had nothing to do with it. BS. We found a lot of information about Toriyama's involvement in the early days of GT. GT got canceled because of bad ratings. That's also untrue. You know, well, not entirely untrue, but it's been sort of misconstrued, you know what I mean? So my whole thing is, because I work so hard and I'm very defensive about my content. I mean, it could be considered a flaw, but I am very prideful of what I've done, you know. But I think that if you work hard, you should have pride in your work, you know. And when Kobe Bryant passed away, I watched a lot of videos of him and Shaq. And Shaq went around saying, I think that Shaq was tons of videos of Kobe and Shaq. And Shaq would go around saying things like, you know, we were the best 1-2 punch in the history of the league. Is that egotistical? Maybe. But can you argue with the guy that had 3 championships in a row when they were together? You see what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing wrong with being prideful of your work. You know what I mean? And maybe I do it too much, to a fault. Maybe I don't. I'm definitely mellowed out a lot in the past 5 years. I've grown up a lot in the past 5 years. So, you know what I mean? Like, all I've wanted was respect. That's been my main thing, respect. I do all these things, and I've made mistakes. I mean, even 2 months ago, I made like 3 videos in a row that had mistakes, and I was banging my head against the wall, dude, because I'm like, this is not me. This is not Geekdom101. Geekdom101 tries not to make a lot of mistakes. You know, I made a joke a long time ago about being ice cold, no mistakes, which I jacked from Top Gun. Great movie, by the way. And, you know, it was just a line from Top Gun, and some people took it very seriously. It was years ago. But no, everybody makes mistakes. And I used to be very critical of those who make mistakes. Nothing wrong with making mistakes as long as you correct them. And at least I actually go out and apologize for my mistakes. Other people don't do that. And that does piss me off, because if you screw up on a video, at least make like a tweet about it and say, okay, I was wrong about this, that, and third, you know. But not everybody's like that. They just don't care. They move on to the next video. And that's fine. It's not my place to judge someone else, you know what I mean? Or to tell them how to behave. It's just how I behave. I try to have integrity here. And so my big thing has been, you know, trying to earn your respect. That's been my main thing. And, you know, I like to think that I was able to earn it. You know, every single person in the business I've ever met, every single person in the industry I've ever met has been very, very kind to me, that I've actually met, okay? Because there's others that I have not met who have not been so kind, but anybody who I've actually met in person or talked to, whether it be an actor, a producer, an animator, they've all been really, really, really kind to me. They don't just view me as some YouTuber, and I'm very humbled by that. You know, I'm very, very humbled by the fact that they don't write me off, and I think part of that's because I talk to them like a person. You see what I'm saying? And that's been sort of my thing, is we need to have more conversations. We need to, you know, I made a video on World of Geekdom about why I don't pick sides, and the entire purpose of that video was that people get marginalized way too much. They think because you like the dub that you're a dumb dubby who doesn't know anything about Dragon Ball, or if you're a subby, oh, you're an elitist douchebag. And there are people who fit those categories, but there's also people who just prefer the sub or prefer the dub, point blank. As long as you know that there are stark differences in the Dragon Ball Z dub anyways, and even the Super one too, but not as much. You know, as long as you understand that, fine. Like, as long as you know the real story. The manga is the Bible of Dragon Ball, you know, for lack of a better term. You know, that's where everything comes from. And even the Viz version has some mistranslations. So, you know, what can you do? But I have grown up a lot in the past 5 years, and I'm very proud to say that, and I'm very happy to say that, you know, and I'm just in a very intense level of peace right now. You know, like I said, all of my issues that I've had have been resolved. Many people don't even know about these issues because I don't do drama on my channel. You know, I never do that kind of trash because it's trash content. I've done one video where I defended myself, and that video is private now because it's been resolved. So, you know, like, for example, many people don't even know that I had an issue with Unreal Anti-Gaming for years. We had an issue for years, and a lot of it had to do with me not liking the way he carried himself on his content, and me not liking the things he would do, and him sort of, and me feeling disrespected by him, and then him saying things that were very, very wrong about me, and then me saying things wrong about him, and it goes back and forth, and we were both kind of dicks to each other. That went on for years. And at CommandCon 2 last year, we were able to talk and resolve it, have a conversation. We had a conversation, and we've tried it before, but this time, you know, it actually got resolved. You know what I mean? It got resolved, and I'm happy to say that, you know, and we've both kind of, I feel, become better creators because of it. Believe it or not, like, the conflict actually made us better, because the things he used to do, he doesn't really do that much anymore. At least I haven't noticed it. That would tick me off, and that's because I voiced to him, like, I didn't like this, and this, and then he would say, well, I didn't like the way you did this, or said this, and this, and then we're cool now. You know, I had an issue with Mastar for a while, and the Mastar thing really came out because I didn't feel like Mastar respected the fandom. I didn't think he cared. I didn't think he respected me. Right, it's all about respect. And so we've been friends in the past, and then we had a falling out, and then we try to make up, and then other things happen, you know, and a lot of it has to do with stuff that we kind of, we're very competitive people. And I don't mean me and Master, I mean just all of us on YouTube. We're very competitive people, and then sometimes what ends up happening is we end up sort of getting defensive, you know, and Master was dealing with a lot of hate for a while, and I was involved in that, but not as much as he thought I was. And so we talked at CommandCon again. You have to have a conversation. He actually thought at one time that I screwed him out of being the host of CommandCon 1, which is not the case at all. In fact, I had panels planned out for him because he was going to co-host with me originally. I had panels planned out for him to do. And then I get a call one day saying he's not going to co-host anymore. And that was completely out of my, it wasn't my call. I'm not the owner. So, but when we talked about it, I tried to tell him to his face, like, nah, man, that's not true. Like, you know, we did obviously trash each other at one point, but it's okay. Like, it's fine, because we can learn from it and move on. We can all become better people from it. You know what I mean? You know, I dealt with perfection last year, Super Itachi. We had a talk. That's been resolved. You can check out his channel if you want to. He's got multiple channels. You know, a lot of people are telling me, you know, Geekdom, do you trust this guy? You know, why do you forgive so easily? It's not that I forgive easily. It's that I don't like issues. I don't like drama in my life. I don't like having enemies. I want to be everybody's friend. And that's one thing I've been criticized over. Geekdom wants to be everyone's friend. I do. It's impossible, but I do, because human beings are complex, and I feel like human beings have something to offer to the world, right? Everyone has something to offer to the world in a positive way. They might not know what it is yet, but they have something to offer. So yes, I am willing to forgive. I've forgiven pretty much everybody who's ever slighted me. Pretty much, if we've had a conversation. If we haven't, then what can you do? But as of right now, I'm going to tell you this. If you're out there and you have an issue with me, it's squashed. It's resolved. You know, I have no issue with anybody right now. If you don't want to resolve it on your end, cool. Like, I don't know. There's no specific person. I'm just saying in general. But if you do want to forgive and forget, let's just forgive and forget, because there's no point in stirring up a conflict. It's not going to do anything to either of us except just waste time and energy. And so, you know, I was very competitive for a while, right? And that was part of my issues, that how competitive I was. But at the same time, it's not like I was competing for views. I was competing for respect. That's why I do videos that, you know, are for the hardcore fan. Then I'll do videos for the casual fan. You know, that's just kind of how I think. I'll do videos that get 30,000 views, but that's okay because it's from the hardcore fans. I'll do another video that does 200,000 views. We're all slaves to the algorithm. You know what I mean? We're all slaves to it. Right now, Totally Not Mark is on fire. He's been putting out great content, great views, you know. But the YouTube algorithm could change tomorrow. Boom. They stop pushing this video. It's happened, yo. I know y'all have heard stories about this. It has happened. You know, I'm not going to say any names because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but there are YouTubers that were really big 4 or 5 years ago that can't even get 10K anymore. It's just how it is. Like, the algorithm snaps and you're done. It sucks. It really sucks. So the best you can do is try to cultivate a community and make videos people want to see and just do the best that you can. Obviously, when Dragon Ball Super comes back, whenever that is, we're all going to be elevated. The entire community is going to go up. Like, we will all grow up, and like, not like grow up, but you know what I mean? Like our channels will pop more, all of us together. But until then, like, my goal for 2020 is to make just cool, evergreen content, videos that are going to bang, not this year, next year, the year after that, and kind of create this sort of encyclopedia on Geekdom 101 about Dragon Ball. That's my goal for this entire year. You know what I mean? That's what I want to do. And just have fun. Just have fun, you know, because right now, you know, things are good financially as far as, I mean, the medical bills suck, but besides that, I'm not... The house is paid off. I'm not like worried about being homeless, because I was homeless 11 years ago. So I'm not worried about that anymore like I used to be, even though it's still in the back of my head. It's always going to be there. It's actually, I have actual PTSD from it. But, you know, at least I can just make videos for fun. And if you like it, great. And if you don't, that's okay too. But even if it's a video that you're not really sure about, check it out, because I do try to make my videos as interesting as possible. I don't have the best voice in the fandom, obviously. People think I'm the most knowledgeable guy. I respect that. I don't know if I am. I do respect that. A lot of people think that about me. I try to be the total package. You know, that's what I try. I try to give y'all the total package, as accurate as I can with the news, as accurate as I can be with the video history stuff, the lore stuff. And I dealt with a lot of shit over the Dragon Ball Super thing, you know, because it didn't come back, and I still feel bad about that. That doesn't go away. I feel better about it, but I feel bad about it that it didn't come back when I said it was going to come back. It's not my fault, okay? But I still deal with it. Still bugs me in the back of my head, because I really wanted it to come back, because even though I did work my ass off and break my body down tremendously in the past 5 years, from lack of sleep and things like that, it was still such a roller coaster ride. And really, even though we all got into fights and debates and arguments about Dragon Ball Super, it brought the community together in a way that we would have never expected. And when I first started doing my channel, I didn't even know there was going to be a new Dragon Ball series. I was just going to do little videos here and there. Then when Dragon Ball Super got announced about a month into my channel's lifetime, I was like, wait a minute, are you Dragon Ball's back for real now? You know, it was a great time. It was so much excitement back then. And Super wound up not being what I wanted it to be. It really wasn't as great as I had hoped it would be. The important thing is this: I made a lot of friends along the way. I have made friendships on this channel that I will treasure for the rest of my life, literally. And because of Geekdom 101, I have made friendships with people, and I have a lot of friends. And sometimes, unfortunately, my friends do things that I don't agree with. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes my friends say things and do things on social media that I just do not agree with. But at the end of the day, there's some kind of bond there that you may never know, maybe from something they did for me in the past. And I just don't like having enemies. Does that make sense? I like everybody. I like to be cool with everyone. I like to be as neutral as possible. And I want people to just be better people. You know what I mean? Including myself. That's my goal. So I really hope you enjoyed this stroll down 5 years of Geekdom 101, and kind of just me giving my thoughts and just dumping them out like without even scripting anything. You know, I've been so blessed, dude, because I was able to host Kamehacon 2 years in a row, which I helped put those two cons together. Did a lot of work to put the shows together and make them sort of, and I didn't even get to do everything I wanted to do, make them sort of a haven for Dragon Ball fans. And last year, Kamehacon 2, I had a birthday party with 100 people at the Korean barbecue. There were 100 people there, including voice actors like Stephanie Nadolny, Brian Drummond, Scott McNeil, people who I heard, whose voices I heard when I was a teenager and a preteen in some cases. And they were at my birthday party. I'm never going to forget that. And that's all because of this channel. So, 5 years done, 5 years going forward. I hope you'll join me for the next 5 years, because we're going to do a lot more than just Dragon Ball, but Dragon Ball will always be my heart and the core of what we do here, and I want to be the best. I want you to think of me in 20 years as being the best. And if you don't think that, that's okay. I can live with it. But if some of you think that, I appreciate it. And that's what I want. Or at least in your top 5. At least say, okay, I used to love Geekdom. I used to love his videos. And that means a lot to me. Like, it really does. It's a pride thing, yes. But it at least shows that I put my mark in someone's life, and that is the most important thing, and I hope that everybody becomes a better person because of it. So remember to take care of yourself and each other. Seriously.